News First Newsline with Faraz Shaukatali.
And a jolly good morning to you ahead of a brilliant, hopefully a brilliant weekend. This is Newsline, live as always from the News First studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And this morning we have got as our guest on our set Dr. Ramesh Pathirana, Member of Parliament from the Galle District and representing, of course, the UPFA. Dr. Pathirana, good morning to you.
Very good morning to you, Faraz.
Now, Doctor, the entire country is suffering from an illness which you maybe are familiar with. It's called collective high blood pressure, collective, I don't know, collective everything.
Yes.
They are collective, and especially they're having to cope with memory loss, collective memory loss among certain people. And is it possible that the events at the central bank is making the people of our country have higher blood pressure than normal and so on, because they're all worried?
Actually, hypertension is generally you find in the elderly people.
Yeah.
Dementia is also the same. So you find that in the older age people, which is called senile dementia.
Yeah.
But it's highly unlikely that the minister of the middle age tends to forget everything about what he had done. So it's highly unlikely. I don't think that he's going through a difficult period. So obviously, what he said obviously you are referring to the phone scam, and it was a sort of a lie, I would say that, he
IDK syndrome. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't know.
I don't know syndrome.
All right, okay, it's a new thing, right?
Well, it only sort of came into being a few days ago in Halstorf,
All right, okay.
at the premises of the Commission of Inquiry, when the former finance minister, now foreign minister, part owner of the United National Party, Ravi Karunanaika, gave evidence. It was, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you see that image the other day on the...
That's right, yes. Almost all the TV channels reported that, and it was subsequently reported in the print media yesterday.
Yeah.
That's right. It's highly unlikely that he has forgotten everything about it. So he came out and said that he has a wonderful family life, and on the other hand, he says that he did not know that he was living in a penthouse.
It was so wonderful that his family failed to tell him.
That's right, yes, over a period of 9 long months.
That's fine, because Daddy is working hard. In his words, like a dog, from 7 to 11, and suggested that the records of the ministry would support his claim. But I think that was merely the politician's flourish when he said that, because I don't know how many ministers actually log in and log out of their office. Do you have an office?
No, we don't have office as such. No, that's right.
But when you enter Parliament, have you got a fingerprint machine?
No, it's not installed as it.
So how do they know that you arrived?
They, at the entrance, they write down our names at the time of entry.
Okay.
That's what they do.
I suppose they must make a note of the time.
That's right, yes, they're making the time.
Oh, right. Anyway, now then, why is the joint opposition? What are you people in opposition doing about this?
No, actually, when it came to limelight in February 2015, it was the joint opposition then actually. So all of us were in the opposition.
Yeah, but I'm not really
brought it
interested
to the limelight.
that.
That's right. So we made our representations to the central bank then.
Yeah.
So we gave the thrust to initiate the investigations.
But at the time, we were complaining
Yes.
to the man who is now found out to be at the epicenter of the whole Bondgate problem.
Yeah, that's right, yes. That was a
Mr.
mistake then. That's right, yes. That's right. So, unfortunately, it had happened so. But it had gone some length now with this appointment of the Presidential Commission, which we should commend actually. And so...
Wasn't it a wonderful decision?
No, it was a good decision, yes. It was a good decision. Hope that they will go ahead and take legal action. That commission itself...
I understand that. But when this network started shouting and making a big noise, literally from the rooftops, a lot of people thought that we were a little bit loopy.
Yes.
and that we were just shouting.
Yeah.
And that we were making a noise for nothing.
So we should give full credit to you. Your channel had always been on that side. So
But
making noises about.
nobody would have. Everybody. You see, the thing is, there was a lot of skepticism because they believed that we didn't have the evidence. But right at the beginning and up to today, we continue to say that this was a very, very unambiguous, crystal clear case of conflict of interest.
No, let me congratulate you for a job well done, actually. So
Well,
you've been doing that over a period of time. During our time also, we could remember you just, you came out and spoke openly about the issues that mattered for the people. So it's a good
Yeah.
thing. So the media of, it could be print or electronic media of this nature should create awareness amongst the people of this country. So
Yeah.
you have a significant stake in relation to that.
But nothing, when the president initially was alerted to this problem, he was abroad.
Yes.
And he immediately said he wanted an inquiry. But in my view, and
Yes.
this is not necessarily the view of any official view, but that, the Prime Minister sort of usurped that and immediately announced the formation of that now infamous three-member committee consisting of 3 lawyers, at least one of whom admitted that he didn't know anything about matters at the central bank.
Yes.
And these were, of course, hand-picked by the Prime Minister. And that was utter waste of time, because had it been nipped in the bud back in March 2015, we would have only had the first bond and its losses to cope with.
Yes.
Instead, it's
Yeah.
gone on.
No, it's very unfortunate because there was a no confidence motion table in the parliament also.
Yeah.
So when it was brought to the order paper, parliament was dissolved.
Yeah.
So subsequently, the same minister was appointed as the finance minister.
Yeah.
So things matters got worse actually. That's why we had that second bond scam in March 2016.
Yeah.
So by the looks of it, from the beginning there had been something under the carpet. So that's why the central bank was taken under the Premier Vikramasinghe, which has to be with the finance ministry.
Yeah.
So looking at that, there had been so many, wheels within wheels, and the matters got very, very complex. But at the end of the day, because of the effort of your channel and the other media, and also the civil groups making noise about it, people like Ms. Anika Vijayasuriya, they came forward on their own and gave why they testified
Yeah.
in front of the commission, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Isn't it wonderful? I don't know whether you've followed the proceedings, but we've had for over 75 days now Zulfiq Fazan, who's a young journalist from our network, from Team News First, who's been covering the events diligently, and several other journalists too. It's become a small fraternity.
Yes.
I don't know whether they're going to have a little club to say that these are the
Anti-corruption club.
Yes, the anti-corruption club. But actually, of course, our network has started the anti-Sri Lanka against corruption
Yes.
drive. But isn't it astonishing that a man who was handpicked by the Prime Minister to head the Ministry of Finance, but a severely depleted Ministry of Finance, because the Prime Minister kept for himself the subject of the central bank, and the state banks and the public enterprises was handed over to another ministry.
Yes.
The minister now is Mr. Kabir Hashim, and they had this, shall we call it, an infamous breakfast meeting, and this was to discuss matters of state financing. And what do you say as an opposition member of parliament that the then chairman of the United National Party, who had no official role in government, neither was he an appointed member of parliament, and he said, minister can't be, and quite literally his only qualification in that way would have been that he was a friend of the Prime Minister, and he attended this meeting. Do you think the Prime Minister, when he made his famous speech on March 17th that year, he mentioned this meeting? But you know, he didn't mention Malik Samaravikrama's presence. But we have it on record by Mr. Samaravikrama that he was there, because he gave us an interview over the telephone. Now, that's the beginning. What do you say as a opposition MP?
No, it's very unfortunate actually. People of this country expected to see a real change.
Yeah.
Our government, which has governed the country for 10 long years, Mahinda Rajapaksa, he liberated the country from the clutches of LTT, and there had been some economic growth. And people expected a better economic growth rate after this, the good governance government came into power in 2015.
Yeah.
And the main charge against our government was the corruption-related allegations.
Yeah.
So people expected better performance from this government actually. So from the first hour itself, from the first month itself, they had broken their promise. It's very unfortunate.
In a rather spectacular way, if I may add.
Yeah, that's right, yes. Sorry. So it's very unfortunate this the way things had unfolded in this society. So economically, this had put our country in a very, very sort of a back footing. So the corruption indicators that had given the world rankings like the Heritage Foundation, Transparency International, all those rankings had gone down consistently during the last couple of years. So these are connected to obviously this bond scam and also the other allegations of corruption.
Do you feel
so the very government that had come to power on the promise of the eliminating corruption had got embedded in that? It's very unfortunate.
Do you feel, Dr. Pathirana, that two things. I'll ask the first one. Do you think Malik Samaravikrama, that there is a legitimate need to have him hauled up before the Commission of Inquiry?
I think yes, it's very clear. They should be summoned, including the Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, I suppose.
Well, he's the minister in charge of the subject.
That's right, yes.
And his name as PM.
Yes. Yeah,
they're not talking about the clock.
Yeah,
they're talking
right.
about the Prime Minister
Yes.
in all those SMSs.
That's right, yes.
Well, put it this way, Mr. Karunaka was there because of the evidence of Anika Vijayasuriya.
That's right, yes.
And the commissioners said as much when they were urging Mr. Asukularatna to tell his client to come here as early as possible.
That's right.
So when they said, well, his name's come up, so we need to talk to him. In the same way, Malik Samaravikrama has a legitimate need because there's an admittance by the Prime Minister in Parliament of who attended. But then he's left out Malik's name. I can't believe that he forgot Malik. He knows Malik from the time they went to that school called Royal, right? And they have this de facto club,
yes,
of which they're members of, their own club. And then you've forgotten the main man. It's almost like you forgetting your wife.
She should be summoned to testify in front of the Commission.
He should do. I hope you lead a drive to lobbying for that. But the other thing, what I wanted to say to you, when you were talking about the expectations of people and the loss of power by Mr. Rajapaksa, don't you think that the people got fed up after the war? The people. It just goes to prove that the people of this country are tolerant, liberal-minded people who have no time and space in their lives to kill their fellow citizens, right? And so when constantly there was this mantra, we won the war, we won the war, we won the war, and we won the war, the people of Sri Lanka just got cheesed on and said, come on, this is enough. We won the war, but we want our economy. We've been waiting for 30 years for the economy to go up. Companies, big companies, small companies, privately held groups like ourselves, John Keel's, God knows what their fortunes would have been had it not been for this war, because it included the war. I mean, there are people who have made their fortunes and they started during the currency of the war, these entrepreneurs and so on, and they've done remarkably well in our country. This group, we were burned down, and since '83 we had to rebuild it all back again, right? But this is all done in the background of a war.
Yeah.
Right? So imagine the potential.
Yes.
And is that the sad thing, that this potential has been ignored by the politicians this country?
No, that's right. But yeah, I agree partly to what you mentioned. But we had seen a significant growth of economy after 2009. So we had subsequent years, showing economic growth rate of 7.5 to 8%. So we had a decent middle class developing in this country, as you correctly said. It would have been an entirely different story if not for the war. The organizations and some other private sector organizations would have flourished. But there had been a significant economic growth rate,
but
and there's so much done in relation to the, the infrastructure development of this country.
I agree. However, at the same time, when you said it yourself that the fundamental problem leading to the loss of power by President Rajapaksa was the claims of corruption, and so many things were dismantled. The national tender procurement guidelines is completely and utterly, they've forgotten about that, right? And so, in a way, this government inherited these problems, and but unfortunately, the sad part now, of course, is that they too haven't been able to pull the handbrake on the corruption that started then.
Yes.
And was allowed to take hold.
The tenders were not called for the Central Expressway, phases, second phase and the third phase.
Yeah.
And even though there is a National Procurement Committee now.
Yeah.
So it's very unfortunate. That's what I mentioned at the beginning of the discussion, that people expected much better governance. So they came to power on that good governance theme, and they're not delivering the mechanism that people wanted to have. So as a country, we'll have to think twice because of that reason. So we need to put systems in place, and we need to have a sort of a lobbying group, the apolitical group that push the politicians and the officers and also the other institutions, so that they can try and put this country and the systems in a sort of a correct path.
Dr. Pathirana, you're right. And I'm no soothsayer, but I can detect a super future for you. Even though you're a doctor, you've chosen to serve the people as a politician and so on. I detect a super future for you, but I fear.
Thank you very much.
But I fear, though, that that super future will be tainted if you are loyal to nothing other than the people.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
If you become loyal to some people with corruption allegations and so on.
No, that's right. As a person who believes in democracy, I personally feel that one party shouldn't govern the country for more than 10 years. So we had governed the country for a long period of time. So personally, if you ask me, it was a time for a change? Yes, I say yes, it was a time for a change. So people did that actually, even though we worked for our party, tirelessly, people decided to have a change. But that change should be for the betterment of the country. But unfortunately, as we experienced, it hasn't been so. It wasn't the case. So you look at the Transparency International reporting that when it comes to the corruption index, our country was placed at 73rd position in 2014. That gone down to 95th place. That gone down by 21 places.
But Dr. Pathirana, do you also know the huge international reputational damage that was done in the manner in which the Chief Justice of this country was removed? That was one of those
let me agree to disagree. Let me agree to disagree. At least we follow the system. It was the no confidence motion was brought into the parliament, and the members of parliament voted against her.
Yeah.
But what happened after the presidential election in January 2015? They removed Chief Justice Mohan Piris overnight, and they reinstated Mrs. Shirani Bandaranayak on the other day.
Yeah.
And on the same day, the third CJ was reappointed. Who gave the consent for that?
Yes,
People
I know.
of this country did not know. The members of parliament did not know.
As a member of the public,
was that the correct thing to do? Was that the
way
way
to? As a member of the public, Dr.
Yes.
What I would say to that is that two wrongs don't make a right.
That's
and
right.
It is the people of this country who continue to suffer. When average Joe Pereira goes to the Supreme Court, the final arbiter, and when he goes there, when it's a life and death matter, his entire future, his whole well-being may well depend on the decision of the Supreme Court. We cannot but expect the Supreme Court to be whiter than white. No mitigating circumstances to have anything other than that. It's got to be pure. You know, the Supreme Court judges have an obligation to know everything that's going on in their life. Whether their husband was suitably qualified and in compliance with the Supreme Court order to be at Sri Lanka Insurance, or whether should have been heading the National Savings Bank. The Chief Justice ought to have known everything.
Yes.
Whatever happens in their house, they need to know.
That's right, yes.
And that's just a little example of what they ought to be. You know, you need to know whether your assistant in your surgery is selling drugs on the sideline. You know, that's your responsibility.
That's very true.
And the same.
Very true.
Same thing. So, Dr. Pathirana, you know, you should come forward because the country is yearning for leadership. What kind of leadership do we have? The finance minister, former finance minister, was arguing in the court of inquiry, the commission of inquiry, that I'm a logistics man, he said, and I know the difference between 1,900 square feet and 4,000. And the commissioners, Prasanna Jayawardena, and they had with them the lease agreements. They had the entire description. It wasn't one apartment, it was two put in together as one.
That's right, yes.
Right. And he kept urging the entire court to come and have a look. Well, yeah, that would have taken another 2 days.
Yeah, that's
there
right.
was been more
there's no
time
reason
wasted.
for the. That's right. Yes, there's no reason to, getting into the nitty-gritties of the size of the flat actually. So when they have the lease agreement in front of them, and
Yeah.
that the lease was paid by the perpetual treasury, so it's the widely known fact. So there is no use of getting into the the examination of the penthouse.
Dr.
There's obvious conflict of interest about the issue. That's the main.
It's been conflict of interest right from the first Sunday or Monday that we started reporting this in the first week of March 2015. And, you know, we've come a long, long way. And all I can say is the highlights of all this time is that, thank goodness, that President Sirisena stuck to his guns and, didn't buckle under the Prime Minister, even
right,
though
yes.
President Sirisena is being an awfully nice chap because he's sticking to his agreement.
Yeah, that's right.
You
yes.
know, you are my partner, but I'm not going to let you ruin me in the process of you ruining yourself.
It ruined me and ruined the country.
Exactly. At
More
the end of the
importantly.
day, it's the country.
So it has to go from the presidential commission. That commission itself can take legal action.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they'll have to give direct the
Well,
Aegis
they can-
department to take
That's right.
legal action against the culprit. So unless they do that, this job is not completed.
But
So
Dr.
if they
Pathirana,
conclude the findings of the presidential commission and they put it under the carpet and wait without taking legal action about that, it's not going to
Pathirana,
serve any purpose. So we have to keep that also in mind.
I urge you to do one thing, to take time out. No, I'm not going to tell you to spend time with your family. It's unnecessary, but But I'm tired. I think you can see that. I'm tired because I'm almost despairing for good governance in this country.
Yes.
But I urge you, Dr. Pathirana, apart from coming forward and I'm sure you'll enjoy the support of everybody who wants good governance in this
Yeah, that's
country.
right. Very true.
But I urge you, you're missing something if you haven't done this. You need to go to Hausdorff and follow the proceedings, at least for a day. You will then see the commitment and the sheer professionalism of the Attorney General's Department. Mr. De Oliveira and Mr. Kodagoda, especially Mr. De Oliveira, everybody, but Mr. De Oliveira is it's a treat.
That's right. Yes.
It's a treat because This is professionalism at its absolute
that's right.
best. And the commissioners, they made it so clear that they know what they're talking about. They were not prepared to have some politician come in there and turn their commission of inquiry into a political playground, right? And they told Mr. Karunanaka, at least on 2 occasions, that this was not the forum for a political. But tell me this, doctor, did you notice something? Now he went in there, I was inside there, right? So I saw the way the minister was and how rattled he got and all his I don't know replies. But when he came out, having meekly, first of all, apologized for not turning up because of his diary, and then thanking them for the way he was treated. And when he came out, guess what he did? He became a singer, didn't he? He became...
In front of media, he started blackguarding the
the
Aegis department
Aegis
officials and
department.
also the media. I mean, that's right.
And then he the favorite punching bag, the media.
Hats off to them. Basically, they have done a thorough investigation about this whole thing, and they come out with some very good technical reports in relation to using on the smartphones and so on and so forth. So it's the whole country should be thankful to all of them
and I think
for
the whole
conducting this inquiry in this manner.
Yes,
which it had turned out to be something
and I think the whole country is waiting
about
for the
final
bill
outcome
to be implemented.
Yes, final outcome of that, and also to see what's going to happen once they conclude the inquiry.
And the other thing, and you need to do this in the interest of transparency, apart from going there and following the proceedings for at least a day, so that you can see how your tax money is at work.
Yeah, that's right.
How your tax rupees are actually giving you a benefit. Apart from that, you can then see, because then you come back and watch the news, you can then see that when Team News First reports, we are reporting the news as it is. There is no additions and subtractions.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, that's right. Yes, you've given so much of publicity for the right cause,
and that is our job. And
yes.
For Mr. Karunanaka to come and go on about unsubstantiated case, what rubbish is he talking about? Unsubstantiated. He agreed that he lived in this apartment for nearly 9 months and his family didn't tell him.
No, it's a diabolical lie basically that he did not know what he said was, and he himself acknowledged the fact that I wouldn't have stayed there if I had known.
So that
itself shows that he has done something wrong and he should gracefully step down. That's what he should do now.
And do you know, there's something that wasn't reported there because it didn't happen at this premises, but he came with a group of supporters, complete with Ravi t-shirts and so on. For what? What kind of a circus is this? The country has lost money. He's benefited because one of those beneficiaries paid for his blessed rent, right?
Yes.
And then they're asking for the use of Visumpaya. For what? And I'm so happy. I love this president because he said no. I think this president suddenly realized that this is getting to be beyond a joke.
Yeah, that's right, yes.
Dr. Pathirana, do you think there is hope for corruption?
Actually, things have got better actually. That's why Miss Anika Vijayasuriya came forward. The ordinary people of this country, they come forward voluntarily against these corruption-related matters. So, the country has a hope, but it's not. It's the beginning of the game, like. So, we'll have to ensure that there's a serious civil society movement, a political one, to put pressure on different quarters of the society, including the politicians and also the other institutions.
I want to let you in on a small secret.
Yes.
I think it was thanks to our coverage, our sales team. I heard them talking. They said that after we started doing this, all advertising on our network was withdrawn. We don't care.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
You have to expect something in return, obviously, yes.
No, obviously not. It wasn't set up for that. But there are others who will come forward.
But financially, you are a strong organization. Hope you should be able to sustain.
But it's a long. It's been a long. It hasn't been easy. We've been called traitors, and sticks and stones have been used at us. Claymore bombs too, But we're still here, and we will be here, thanks to the resolve of the owners of this company and their team. It is actually Team Maharaja.
That's
and
right.
In terms of news, it's Team News First. it starts from, you know, the person who makes our tea, Mr. Hanifa, and the makeup people, the cameras, you know,
And everybody, as a team working towards the correct course.
Exactly, there's Zulf, there's so many, there's Stephanie here, you know, and the commitment, it's team, it's team news first. And we'd like, we hope very much, Dr. Pathirana, that you will be representative of this new leadership that must emerge, because this country is bereft of strong leadership. And we really do look forward to having people like you, hopefully committed to the,
It's very important. And
whilst we are
thank you very
coping
much.
with our
Yes,
huge
that's right.
losses, we hope that you...
Yeah, that's right, yes. So people expect a better lot from the politicians, and also, you said a mouthful actually, so we try our best to ensure that, we put our the country and its systems into a better path. So hopefully the people will have
Well, talking about paths, you need to step out and carve your own path.
Yes, true, that is true. I take your advice very seriously.
Dr. Pathirana, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the program.
It's a pleasure to be here for us. It's the third time I came here. So I've always been a follower of yours.
Go and follow at least a day's procedures.
That's
All
right.
you need is your ID card.
Yes.
You go in there, it's all very professional. Take your phone away, you won't see your phone, and then you go inside and you sit down and it's free entertainment.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you can see your money at work.
Yes.
Mr. Diliver and his team, great, brilliant. And that's it. Thank you very much for being on our
Thank you very much
program.
for inviting me again. All the
It's
best.
a great pleasure. And that's it from Newsline on Friday. And we'll see you again on Monday morning. Take care. God bless.